Good evening and welcome once again to your daily dose of Dominions with kirbyone for turn 86. Turn 86 is going to be a wrap-up of essentially diplomacy and the sort of fallout of the end of the Airmore War, and then my next plans, but also this phase of the game has become a little different from what the past couple of parts of the game has been, because what happens as a result of this is after the end of the Airmore War, Airmore winds up attacking Hinam. Tianchi and Hinam are still fighting, and I have diplomacy with Hinam as well. And that diplomacy results in essentially a sort of non-aggression pact of sorts, in which we agreed that we are not going to attack each other for a set amount of time, essentially for me to rebuild, retake my lands, and for Hinam to be able to not exactly consolidate, but fight off Tianchi, who's been fighting all game, and, well, half of the game, and fight off Airmore again, because Airmore, over the course of this game, both he and I, since we were the ones who talked really the most, Hinam and I, sort of frenemies as we were, discovered that Airmore's sort of thing was to fight us for a little while until we beat a biggish stack of his, and then he would ask for a truce. And you saw this in my war with Airmore, and he actually asked for a truce about halfway through, and I disregarded it and said I'm going to keep fighting him, which didn't end out to be super good for me. I did get this throne, but it was really, really grueling and sort of dragged on for a long time. And only now, turn 86, have I been able, at the end of the war, to get Kailasa to start recruiting stuff again, my capital. Which is just one of the effects of this war. But yeah, so essentially Airmore wound up being sort of like a ping-pong diplomatic weapon that Hinam and I would use against each other. One of us would say, hey, go fight, so-and-so player, and then he'd fight them for a little while until we beat one of his big armies, and then he'd fight the other person for a little bit. And that last war with Airmore was essentially that happening to me, and now Airmore's flipped back onto my side and is attacking Hinam again for a little while. What I'm proposing after I wrap up what I do this turn and sort of show you guys my plans is that because of the non-aggression pact with Hinam and because of the peace treaty that I brokered with Airmore, and because Tianchi has been my ally, I essentially don't do any fighting at all. There are no more indies left anywhere near me. This was just an event, and Airmore's going to take that. That was sort of part of our deal. And will eventually go AI, or sorry, not AI. I actually do eventually go into the water with some mercenaries and take this fort after a long, long time. But really, for the whole time that I'm not fighting, there's not a lot to show you on a turn-by-turn basis. And the next time I actually get into a war in this game, and keeping in mind this is turn 86, the next time I actually fight another player in this game is turn 96, 10 turns from now, over a week of one episode a day showing you not a whole lot of anything. So I'm thinking and I want to hear your guys' feedback. Anybody who's been watching this series, anybody who's just getting in, and anybody who really feels invested in this game at all. I want to hear your feedback because I have been sort of breaking out into a different style of presenting my games, which is with the Basil is Not Ideal miniseries, which is to say any game that I finished, which is a couple of games at this point, this one as well as the Basil is Not Ideal, also a Kailasa game. What I'm doing with that is one episode a week of a series of turns highlighting a section of the game in terms of what happened with those major events of that time period. So, for example, what I've covered so far in the other series has been expansion, and then my first war with Hinam, and then sort of throne taking and moving into a second war. So that's sort of how I'm envisioning this next little bit to be with this game, because 10 turns of doing nothing is not going to be edge of your seat gripping realistic action for you guys. So let me know what you want me to do. In the meantime, I will wrap this turn up and show you my perspective on things for this turn. So based on the treaty that I had with Airmore is going to move from here to here and take this fort as a recompense for me taking this fort, even though I actually took this one and he did not actually take this one. But it seemed like a fair trade as far as convincing him to sign a peace treaty with me finally. And also he did really give up a lot, because I asked for basically every province that was under my dominion at the time of signing the treaty. So that was this, and this that and these two for nothing. I offered him nothing because I didn't really, I was like, okay, well this is all within my dominion already, and I don't think you want any of it. He's just been raiding. These are literally not even connected to any of his forts, and neither are these once I take back this. So yeah, plus I want my cap circle, naturally. And this, I was like, this will connect me back to my lands, so it makes sense to have those. So I had nothing really to offer him other than a fort. And as far as forts go, this is not really particularly strategic for me, other than sort of like a moral victory to be having this fort and defending it the whole game, sort of like the Alamo. But this is a much more strategic value to me, so that's why I was okay with that trade. Other than that, I just have this and this to take back, and then I will have all the territories that I will essentially be owning for the next 10 turns, and that will be my land. This will be my land. All here is what you see. What you see is what you get, and over time I will finally, unmolested, build a palisade here and here, upgrade it to a fort, build labs and temples, claim those thrones, and expand my dominion out a wee little bit as well. It will be conflicting with the dominion here in Hinam's place, but yeah, that's my objective. I still have zero plans to attack TNG, because TNG has been my ally, and I do not exaggerate with this, literally the whole game. As soon as I met him, he basically became my ally once we started fighting Niflheim together. And then I signed a peace treaty with Airmore, and you might have read it from the last turn, but essentially my agreement is that I will not attack Airmore. And the reason is because in order to win this game, as far as thrones goes, I will, over the course of the next 10 turns, have this throne, this throne, this throne, this throne, and this throne secured, completely secured within my borders. And I will have enough warning that if anyone goes for any of those, my pretender will be able to teleport and protect it. And so that's 5 out of the thrones 9 that I need to win the game. 5 out of 9. That's already more than half. So I just need 4 more thrones, because they're all level 2 thrones, and you only need 18 points. So I just need 4 more thrones, and I win the game. If I can get 4 thrones while keeping these thrones, then it's doable. And with my Siddhas, if I get more of them, I can hit a lot more thrones a lot better. This throne is undefended, this throne is undefended, and I think the others all have forts on them at this point in the game. This throne is within striking distance of me, so that's already 3. Now, in a very big, desperate emergency, I could take this one, but again, it's like low on my list of priorities because Tianchi is my ally. And really, I just thought I can take 4 thrones from Hinam, then I can win the game. I don't even care about Hinam anymore proper. I don't even care about taking his fort or his capital, and I have no desires or goals to do so. This is all about winning the game at this point and how I'm going to do that. So I just need 4 thrones, and right now my targets are this one, this one, this one, and I think this one, or this one. And this one I could get if I went through here, but that doesn't happen immediately. But over the next 10 turns, Hinam actually pushes Tianchi back and takes this province, which is why it became a target for me, because I could just go 1, 2, 3 and be there. Whereas this one, it would be 1, 2, 3, 4 turns, and I could get there with a sieging army. The thing is, a sieging army would be required to take those thrones because they both have forts, while as this one and this one I can just drop Siddhas on, or even my pretender if I really needed to in a super desperate emergency, just sort of teleport my pretender onto those provinces and claim it. Last game win, or last turn win that way. But that's my goal. Those are my objectives. And that's how I was playing, basically, for the rest of the game. At this point, I was like, alright, I can do this. It'll be hard. It'll take a little bit of planning and a little bit of crazy work, but it is doable. So that was what I was going for. So again, let me know what you think I should do for the next couple of turns. I'll give this a day to sort of settle, get people to all watch it and come up with their own suggestions and ideas. Tomorrow night I will do a episode of Basil is Not Ideal. I believe that's episode 4, and that will be a fun one for you guys to watch and a fun one for me to upload. And I might have time to do a second video as well, but I will not do another daily dose tomorrow night, so that I have time for you guys to let me know what you'd like and decide what I should do with that, and sort of the future direction of this channel as well, because I was very interested in this idea of doing an episode a day, but it became very exhausting, and toward the late age it also became much longer in terms of how long the turns took to get through, and some of the turns were just boring. I think both to upload and maybe for you guys to watch. There's not really a whole lot of super exciting action. It's just me moving a lot of guys around a lot of different places. So I think that the format that I've been doing with the Basil series has been more interesting, both for me and for you guys, and I might try other things like that and do other games like that. especially as I continue playing games in Dominions 5. That's all for tonight. Please enjoy, and I will see you tomorrow night. Have a good one.